Hello, my name is Ilona and today it's Thursday, May 4th, 2023. And a lot of things are happening. This morning I shared the messages from Stormrider on my Telegram channel, and it was about Ukraine, about what's happening there, and I'm actually going to take a look at Russia, Kremlin, and of course I'll be in a way that has to do with Ukraine as well, for the attack on the Kremlin. And there was also a message about things about children who are they bringing it out more and more through Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and more people. There is a committee, if I'm not mistaken. I've shared a clip from a woman talking as a witness in front of that committee about that the B administration in America is the biggest ring concerning children, and that she thought she was helping, but instead she saw that the entire system is built to actually trade children and things like that. So that is going to come out, and that will be very important because this is happening worldwide. Here in the Netherlands, we of course had the scandal surrounding the IRS, and that children have disappeared, taken from their parents because of everything that happened with this scandal. And they're still missing. And there's no focus on that. The media is not on top of that. We know why, but it's just incredible if you think about that. Children are still missing. They're not reunited with their parents. This was a humongous mistake made by the government, made by the taxes, the IRS here in the Netherlands. Nobody's talking about that. Where are those children? People should be on top of that. The media should be on top of that. But like I said, we know why that's the case, but it's just shocking. And of course, a lot of children missing every year. And this is worldwide going on. So it's very important that this is coming out. But I'd like to look, my first card reading is about the Kremlin, who's been attacked. And of course, it was an attack against Mr. P. And of course, Russia is blaming Ukraine for that. And the interesting thing was in the message from Stormrider, also mentioned that, of course, in the media, still things seem like the Ukraine is winning, but it's not the case at all. And more people are speaking out about that. Also, the oil tanker that was shot. There was just one oil tanker there. There were like 27 there. So it wasn't really a win in any way. And the company wasn't shut down in any way. So it was barely any damage. But in the media, it was brought like, see how they're doing this, they're doing very well. And this was done by the NATO. This wasn't even done by the Ukraine, because ultimately Russia is now fighting NATO. They're not fighting the Ukraine because they barely have anything. That was very interesting because Mr. P came out and of course accused the Ukraine, and Mr. Z from the Ukraine mentioned actually in a clip, I shared it yesterday on my Telegram channel, that he's like, well, we only fight on our own terrain because, well, we don't have the means for that. And I thought, well, that's finally something very honest. I don't think they have even the means to fight on their own terrain. They barely have anything left. So they're not going to be able to do that, to pull this off. So I do believe that the NATO is behind that one, the oil tanker at least. And it wouldn't surprise me if NATO was behind this with the Kremlin as well. Although it is a bit very strange that there's barely any damage. There are no wounded or victims or anything like that. And Mr. P wasn't even there. So I think it's more like that the Whiteheads were aware that this was going to happen. And they were like, let it happen because we can use this for something else. So that's also what I got from the card reading. Of course, I already shuffled the cards and did the card reading in my Dutch video. But I'm going to show you the cards I got for the Kremlin and what's going on there. Also, something very interesting is that Mr. Z from the Ukraine just talked to Mr. X from China, and now apparently is here as a surprise visit in the Netherlands, which is very interesting because this has happened before with Macron. Macron also went to China, talked with Mr. X, and then suddenly popped up here in the Netherlands to speak to Markie, our prime minister, and to Willem, our king. And I'm not sure if Mr. Z is going to talk to our king, but it's very possible. But he is talking to Mr. Rutte. So this is very interesting. Also in Stormrider's message, and I have that feeling that actually Mr. Z is working for the White Hats in a way to just show everyone how deep this all goes and that NATO is involved and it's one gigantic mess and it needs to be brought to light. But it's very interesting that suddenly he is here. Of course, in the media we have today, this is the 4th of May, we actually remember all the deaths that have fallen in wars, in the Second World War and all the wars around the world. So people are in the media seeing, well, this is very suitable, of course, with all the things that are going on in his own country. So they're kind of using that angle, but it's very interesting that he's here after his talk and, of course, after what happened at the Kremlin. But the cards I've got, the first one is the Hanged Man. The central card is the Three of Pentacles. The card in the past is the King of Pentacles. Underneath the Three of Pentacles we have the Five of Swords, and for the future we have the Two of Swords and the Eight of Cups. And I just got an extra card just to figure out who's really behind it, and it was the Four of Pentacles. So to me this is people holding on to that power. So most likely NATO started it, but I think the White Hats are actually using it to their advantage. So they are creating this grim atmosphere. And I'm also sometimes sharing articles from the media, you know, the mainstream media, about this Third World War. I do believe that we're still working towards a scary event. So when I share articles like that, it's more to show you how they're working the media, you know, preparing people for this Third World War. The dark energies want that war, so they can, you know, use it as a gigantic distraction of what else is going on. And of course, the White Hats do not want this war, but they want to make it seem like it will start. And then they will flip the script, so to speak. So I don't believe there is going to be a true Third World War. I do believe we're already in the middle of it, so to speak, if you really want to, you know, we're in this information war that's going on. So I don't think it's going to get that far, but it will seem like it. So it's from both sides working towards this. But I think Mr. P and Russia is using this, of course, for their offensive that's going on now in the military that they're working on in the Ukraine right now. And they are really fighting NATO. And Stormrider also mentioned that a few, I think, weeks ago, they actually bombed a certain bunker, if I'm not mistaken, with a lot of important people from NATO. So there's barely anything there anymore in the Ukraine. It's just not going well for them. And this is really the fight of the dark energies. The puppets there, they're trying to control it. Of course, a lot of things have happened in the Ukraine concerning children, concerning labs, concerning so many things. Also with the administration of Mr. B in America. More things are coming out about that as well. But it will not be completely known who's really behind it. There will still be some confusion. But Russia is moving away, and we do see them moving towards something new. Parts of the Ukraine will be part of Russia. I think that's already made a deal with the, you know, as a White Hats, they've already made that deal that parts will return to Russia, and they really are moving away from this old system and leaving it behind. But right now, this is being used to really focus on the Ukraine and show the rest of the world, well, this has happened, so they're using it for their own advantage. That's what I'm getting out of it. But I do believe it's most likely NATO that tried, but I think the White Hats were fully aware of this and actually made sure there were barely any damage about what happened. Because let's face it, you had this attack going on and not much came out of it. Barely any damage, no wounded, no victims. So it's very strange. And Mr. P wasn't even there. So interesting. So that's the energy I've got. The second thing I want to take a look at is in the Netherlands here, of course, the farmers. And they are really pushing through these, trying to buy out the farmers. And the European Union, I think, a commission, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to look at the article again. A certain commission from the European Union agreed with it. So they want to start like July 1st, the ability to buy out farmers. So they have these regulations about that. And they make it seem like it's voluntarily, but they are actually saying if you don't do it now, we're going to force you away later on, and then you'll get a cheaper price. So really there's nothing voluntarily about this, but apparently the European Commission agreed with it. Well, we already know who's in the European Commission and what ties they have and what agenda they are running. So I just wanted to take a look at that energy about the regulations, about what they come up with to buy out farmers, and just the energy about that. And the first card I got was the Page of Pentacles. The central card is the King of Cups. In the past we have the Four of Cups. Underneath the King of Cups we have the Seven of Wands. And for the future, and this was very interesting, we have the Ten of Cups and the Three of Cups. These are actually very positive cards. This is a card of celebration. This is a card of family, of hope, life's mission. So this was very interesting for the future. So I believe ultimately the farmers are going to succeed in this. And I think this is the most important card in this reading. The farmers are on a way better position than they might actually think. So they are going to win this war, but they need to stand up. And I do believe that the farmers are not going to accept this, not going to fall for this, maybe a few, but I don't think farmers, they realize what's really going on. They want to get rid of the farmers. They want to build this tri-state city, the 15-minute cities. They want to get, a hold on the food production. They just want to get rid of the farmers. That's what this is about. So this is very important. Farmers are in a way better position than they think they are. And I do think they're going to stand up for this, and they're not going to cooperate. They're not going to work with this. And I'm still getting the feeling there's going to be some kind of court case going on. In a very mature way, they're going to handle this. So this is an opportunity to handle this in a different way. So it wouldn't surprise me it will lead to some kind of court case. I don't think farmers are going to accept this. I think a lot of farmers are seeing through all these agendas and all these nonsense with the nitrogen that they come up with. We fortunately have more and more people critical of what's going on, and that it's based on nothing. And especially when you compare it to other countries in the European Union, it is ridiculous here. But it has to do with the agenda they're pushing from the European Union as well. Of course, it's all connected to those goals from 2030. So I do believe the farmers are going to stand up, and they are in a way better position than what they're trying to do, what the dark energies and the government are still trying to push. So I think this will lead to some kind of maybe court case, but I don't think ultimately this will lead to the victory of the farmers. They're not going to be able to push this through, but it has to do with standing up for themselves. So it's very important as farmers to unite, not tolerate it, not accept it, and to really stand up in a very mature way as well. It's the King of Cups, so nothing like out of frustration or anger, but really unite and like, we're not going to tolerate this. This is an opportunity to stand up for themselves completely in a very mature way, and then they will have victory because they are in a way better position. So I wanted to leave it at this, and I hope to see another video. Bye.